Here's how to create beautiful home widgets using Flutter. iOS home widgets are those little interactive panels on your iPhone home screen, whether calendar, quick starts. But there is a problem with home widgets. They don't run like normal apps. They run on a tiny little thread with strict memory limits, so small that Flutter can't run there. So how do we do this? We will render them using SwiftUI, like every iOS apps. But we will keep using Flutter to fetch and push data. You can easily communicate between native apps and Flutter. Using channels, you can push and fetch data from Flutter. But that's not really the subject of the video. Leave me a comment if you're interested on how to do this. I'll create another video on this. So let's get started. I created a new project using the Flutter create command. Then now we will open VS Code. When you create a fresh Flutter app, you have these folders for each platforms. This means that you have here iOS because I just requested to create an iOS platform, but I could have Android, web, macOS, Windows, everything. This is the magic of Flutter. So we will start by opening Xcode to edit our iOS native part. So you right-click it and you click on Open Xcode here. My name is Gauthier and I am the maker of Apparencekit, a tool to generate better and faster applications using Flutter. You can think of it like Expo for Flutter. Using Apparencekit, you will have many templates for all the things: authentication, subscription, onboarding, and other. It will skip months of work. But let's get back to our subject, creating home widgets. If you're not familiar with Xcode, it's the editor to create every Apple applications. First, we need to create a target, which you find there. Targets are, if you don't know what it is, it's separate things that Xcode will build. So it means that our applications is runner. It's creating another separate for testing that we don't use at all as we are running on Flutter. And we will create another target for our iOS widgets. And that's exactly what we are going to do. First, we go on File, and then we create a new target. Here it is. And now we are searching for home widgets. Widget extension. We will name it. Let's say it's our home widget. I like to name it like this. For now, we will not include configuration app intent or live activity. That's other things. So we type next, we tap on finish. We activate it. And now you see we have this home widget extension target that just appeared. You have to understand that widgets are something quite new. So by default, it's running on my minimum iOS development, which is quite high. So because there is too many things that are not enabled on lower bounds, I prefer to keep and stay on 17 iOS version, because by default, home widgets generate some templates that you can see there. You have this bundle saying there is this home widget that exists. So if you don't want to say to the system that this widget exists, you just comment it out. We have this home widget that is already there, generated when we create a new home widget. That's an example made by Apple that we will change. So by default, it just shows failed to build the sham, a date, and an emoji. And as SwiftUI is pretty close from Flutter, it's creating the view here. So it's a text showing the time, then the date, and an emoji. That's the example from Apple. You can preview it normally like this. There is some error when you run Flutter apps with home widgets. The first thing is that inside the build phase, you will see an error. That's because of Flutter, and our Flutter works with widgets. It is create a cycle that is not working. So by default, you have to go to the build phase of the runner target, then check that the thin binary is the last one. Once you push the thin binary at last, it will normally work. So let's try it. As you see now, it's working. You have the preview, and it's will working when you run your Flutter apps too. I told you the way to go to communicate between Flutter and iOS apps from the native side was channels. But we are not really in the native iOS app. We are running inside a widget, which is not the iOS app. We will write our data inside the user preferences. So you see, the get snapshot, we won't do this for now. We will do something like this. This is my package name. I will tell you about this. We will do like this. And now we have our emoji from the Flutter. But will this work? I don't think. As you see, we created something that is named group.io.apparence. This is my package name, but what is this group? Group or the ability to communicate between your widget and the main iOS app. So this can access things of your main apps. And that's how it will gonna work. We have to create this group. I know it's a lot of configuration. So now inside the sign-in and capabilities, we will add the capability on our runner and say we have a group, app groups. And now here we say group io.apparence. I just start the group by the group and then your package name, so it's easy to remember. And you see, by default, you have this. But there is a mistake we can do. If you don't prefix the app group with the same identifier of your app, it won't work. Here you have IO apparence. Now we can close Xcode and start getting fun with Flutter again. So inside our Flutter project, we will simply start by adding the Home Widgets plugin. Home Widgets. Oh, it's Home Widget. Now it's ready. It's a brand new app with just a counter, and I will let it like this for now. So within the init state, let's start by, if you remember, we have set this app group. So we need to speak with the Home Widgets plugin and saying him, what is our app group? So within the Home Widget, we will say set app group ID, which is group.io.apparence.test iOS widget. Exactly the same as the one we have here. You can copy paste if you're scared to make mistakes. I reworked a bit the basic example so we can pass an emoji to our home widget. So by default, we will have a set of emoji and we will just shuffle and take the first one as a random emoji. This is how we will pass data from Flutter to this home widget. We will write, actually home widget will write data inside the user preferences, and then we will notify iOS that there is new data and it will fetch this new data to update the widget. Okay, let's launch an emulator and see if it's working. Our app is launched. Now we need to go to the home page and just add it on our home screen. So we tap for a long time on the front page, then you tap on the plus and add the widget. Once you are here, we will just find our latest widget, which is named My Widget. This is an example. We add this widget. As you see, I have some other experiments. And here it is, we have this emoji with the time. So what we want now is to test updating this widget. But when we tap here, we notice that this seems not to work. To notify iOS to update now our widget. So what we need is literally to do this home widget dot update widget. As you see, there is this iOS name. You have to give the name of your widget. Now let's see if it's working. We push on the emoji widget. I just updated. We get back to the home and we see that our emoji is not updating, but the time is correct. That each time I'm pushing, the time is updated. So there is a little detail we forgot. Inside the widget code on SwiftUI, you have this get timeline function. And by default, it's not using our get snapshot function. So we need to simply delete this and say we will use the data from the get snapshot function. So get timeline is simply fetching data from our Flutter side now. Without this, it will update just the time. We simply need to restart our application since we changed code on the iOS side. Each time you change code there, you have to run again. So normally now, our emoji should change. Our app has started and let's change that emoji to a star. You can push CMD, Shift and H to go back to the home and see now our emoji has changed. We are now able to update iOS widgets. Another thing you have to understand is that you can't update widgets every time you want. So manually, when your app is opened, you can do it. But when your app is closed, you can't, like on Android, have a background function that is looping over and over. iOS is restricting this. So you can update your widget every 15 minutes. That's the minimum requirement. And it requires some other plugins to do this. As you see, creating home widget requires many configurations and little details you can just forget every day. So I created a command that will entirely automatically create home widgets from a single JSON. You have to start by creating a new file within the root of your project and name it home widgets.json. Then when you have it, I will copy and paste it. You will create widgets and you can create as many as you need. And it will create them for iOS and Android with one command. All the process that we made and even more. That means that it even install background. So you have this Android size and the metadata. So you can say, okay, I want to pass a string and another with the default value and another. So we have these sizes for each widget. We say that we want to create a widget that is available for the system small and system medium, which this one is medium size. We have the descriptions and the name, so we can parameter the parameter and configuration I show you. You can create it right away here without even knowing how it's working on the iOS side. You go there, you go on the weather, and you say, okay, is that a lock screen widget? Say yes or no, and say we have all these parameters. Last updated is Celsius, condition, temperature. And from that, we will create this, use this command. The tool generated everything and even configure changing the target and creating my groups, everything. And it's ready. We can check and see if it's working. All widgets code is available within our core module for home widgets, and you see that it generated this service for each of our widgets. We have these small squared widgets and the weather widgets. We've all just tell him to format, to skip new lines, and say, okay, there is now the temperature, the condition is Celsius, last updated. And we have now everything automatically. The only thing that is just missing is the design. But the good news is we can use AI to create and generate a cool design for this. Let's create it now. So we have this, we don't create the design here. We will find the weather for the Swift file. It's here. Let's ask Claude to create a better design on this. I am a bit lazy, but I prefer normally design my home widgets on Figma and just saying, AI, could you help to design this on home widgets? And after that, change all the details. But for this video, we will skip and just create this like this. Now Claude generated me this design is updated, and okay, this seems cool. Let's see what he's been doing. It seems that he's doing something when on condition. So let's give him a sunny conditions. Within our home widget weather service, let's say condition will be that sunny. Temperature, let's say it's 20 and Celsius. As you see, we are using RiverPod, so we can fetch everything we need each time we want to update our widget. Now, without touching anything else, you will see that our widget will be updating. So we have this home widgets panel, and we say we want to update the weather widget using this data. So we call this, and we go to our home page. We add our new widget, add a widget. This is my app. It's named this. I think this is this one. No, this is the weather widget. So, as you see, Claude just generated a little better design, but there is some glitch up with the padding and everything else that we could remove easily. And we have a nice widget that now communicates with Flutter. We can change if we want. We can say the temperature is this, and our condition is now thunder. So now we get back there, update, and now we have a thunder. And you see the magic. In nearly 5 minutes, I have a completely working widget that is speaking with my app. I can just fetch the data and just nothing to worry about. And design is okay and everything. This is available within the Apparencekit CLI. And that's all for today. I hope that you learned how to make home widgets with Flutter. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. If you want to learn more about Apparencekit, you can check the link in the description.